I should be content. I actually do enjoy my work and I excel at it, but I still feel pangs when I think about what could have been. As much as I like what I do, I think I would be much happier if I ignored my parents and made my decision from the get-go. I understand why my parents are so strongly opposed to an artistic career. They value financial security above all else when it comes to career choices. But that only makes it more difficult for me to go against their wishes. I'm considering trying to get into film school, but I don't know if it will be worth the risk. My parents have assumed that I'll be pursuing my PhD soon, and I know they, mostly referring to my mom, will mock me if I go back to school for anything else. I know it's crazy for someone who's 21 years old and so outwardly independent to be so reliant on their parents' approval, but I just can't seem to escape it.
Aha. So that was from Scooter. So do you have it? What are your thoughts on that, Kerry? Do you have anything that comes to mind right off the bat?
Of course. I relate completely to what this person is feeling. I'm trying to make the transition from a practical job, like she says in quotes, to one where I am doing what I really want to do. In my heart, what I know I should be doing. The artsy-fartsy.
The artsy-fartsy.
Painting, photography is what I know I should be doing. This is why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fucking scary. I am terrified. I am terrified because it's not practical, and I won't have medical insurance like I have now. Mm-hmm. I won't have the steady paycheck like I have now. Mm-hmm. My parents will be disappointed. Well, or so I tell myself. Maybe
what would happen if your parents were disappointed? What would that turn out to be like?
Right? I know. Well, this is something that I've always had a problem with.
Is there actual consequences that you know of, though?
No.
No?
Nothing actual except their disappointment.
This was an interesting point to me. Disappointing our parents and what it is that we think we're actually scared of. If you actually think it all the way through, what are the consequences of disappointing your parents in these terms, where you're pursuing an interest that wasn't necessarily their interest? I'm not talking about, going out and murdering someone or doing something awful. I'm talking about what happens when your interests just differ from what your parents want for you. If you were to actually go with your own dream, what would the consequences with your parents of that actually be? For some of us, it's real. For some of us, our parents might excommunicate us or refuse to talk to us or, withhold our inheritance, something scary. But for a lot of us, maybe we just don't know what that is. Maybe we think they're not going to love us anymore. Human beings are born with an instinct to stay in the good graces of our primary caretaker. That is our survival instinct. Human babies have absolutely no other chance of survival unless we stay in the good graces of our primary caregivers. We can't go out and hunt on our own. We can't do anything. We can't even move. We can't even lift up our own head. That's an instinct that stays with us throughout our lives. We can be 50 years old and still not want to disappoint our parents. And not that that's a bad thing. It serves to keep a nice relationship with your parents. But it ceases to be an instinctually necessary tool to remain alive after a certain point. After a certain point, it's just a really bad habit that we have to break in order to be true to ourselves. I have disappointed my mom in this way countless numbers of times, but it was only because I was interested in so many things that were outside of my mom's comfort zone. So many of my interests, my mom and I are such completely different people. We are not alike in the slightest. It forces all of us to grow. I have to expand my mind to try and understand and relate to my mom, and she has been forced to do the same thing. She has been forced to leave her comfort zone and expand her mind and think about and understand things she never thought she'd have to get close to. And while those times were difficult, we're all thankful for them now. Being afraid of something you don't know is pointless.
When I read this letter, I thought, this is the group of people that you need to hang out with for a minute and talk to about this. So I brought John in. And come on, John.
Hello.
Lean into the photo,
Hello.
John. The photo frame.
Here I am.
Yes.
Oh, it's very exciting. This is a boy on a lesbian
A
blog.
boy, this is the first boy on my vlog ever. I've known you for 14 years. That's a pretty good screening process.
So we met when we were 2.
Yeah. No, John and I, we met in acting school
Yes.
at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. And we were partnered together to do an acting exercise called repetition.
Yes.
Yes.
I was cleaning cat hair off a pillow.
You were cleaning cat hair off a pillow.
Which, by the way,
You making fun of my pillows?
They're
You've been on my
hairy.
blog for 30 seconds and you're going to make fun of me? I love that we're going to have this conversation. I wanted you to have it with 2 of my very close friends who are also artists. Your letter sounded to me like an artist who had been doing what she should do, being a good girl and keeping her parents happy, should do, with quotey fingers, and sort of denying that side of her that wanted to do something other than the practical, which is risky.
is she 21? Is that what she said?
She's 21.
You know, and she's right on target as far as I'm concerned. She is absolutely, you're absolutely exactly where you're supposed to be in questioning the practical versus the dream.
Can I just say,
Start
like,
with that.
I wish I had this conversation with myself when I was 21. I'm 31
Totally.
now. I'm having it now. I think she's awesome
Yeah.
for having this
Yeah.
at 21.
Yeah. I think at 21 you're asking yourself all of the right questions and you're so right on time and you haven't, there was a hint of regret in your letter that you had maybe done something wrong. You have all the time in the world to make your life your own.
Yeah.
And I think you're asking yourself all the right questions. And I, for one, am going to tell you to listen to the pangs. That's where your soul is talking to you. That's where it's coming from.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's your soul. The fact that you're having this conflict is a really, really good sign. The fact that you're having this conflict means that you have to acknowledge somewhere in there that you need to be true to yourself in this process at the same time.
If you're having pangs of any kind, whether they're pangs for a career or pangs for a male or pangs for a female, and I'm thinking like that because I got a lot of letters this week, again, about how to decide if you're bisexual or gay or straight. If you're having pangs for anything, give it respect.
Right.
And check it out.
And pangs aren't arbitrary. You don't have pangs for no reason. If you have a pang, you have to listen to it. Being 21 years old, you're also just at that transition where you're starting to say, Mom and Dad's opinions might have a different weight than they had 5 minutes ago.
Or they
And-
need to. They need to. I think it's wonderful how much respect you have for your mom and dad. But don't confuse that with how you make the decisions about what's right for you. Right. You are your own soul with your own life and your own path to live. And it's wonderful that you care what your parents think and feel. It's not the gauge you can use to make the decisions about who you are in your life.
No.
It's not.
The respect is beautiful, and kudos on the respect for mom and dad. That's very important, and that should maintain. But respect for yourself is the most important thing.